All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Kakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth and their sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Kakodash. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. And what I want to tap into this morning is dealing with something that I was reading in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and verse 6. So I'm going to read it, and it says, by mercy and truth, iniquity is purged, and by the fear of the Lord, men depart from evil. So it says, by mercy and truth, okay, iniquity is purged, okay, because as the Lord has had mercy on us, and that mercy begins with the sacrifice of Yahushua, that was our mercy, okay, because through that sacrifice it appeased the Most High, all right, to in these latter days he will have mercy on the remnant of his people and bring us and allow us to understand this truth, okay, and as we mature in the truth, all right, iniquity is purged, because as we grow to love the Lord by default, we begin to hate evil, because there's no way that we truly love the Lord and not hate evil. So by mercy and truth, iniquity is purged, okay? And let's get there real quick, and we'll go back to it. So when you go to Psalms, all right, 97 and 10, okay? Because as we mature in this truth, we begin to love our power more and more. We begin to love righteousness more and more. And by default, we hate wickedness, man. It said, ye that love the Lord hate evil. You see? So the people, the hopeful elect that truly are falling back in love with Yahweh Bashim al-Shah with righteousness, well, we begin to despise evil. We begin to pray for the judgment, all right, to come on this society, man, to come up on this age. Okay? So those that truly, love the Lord by default, they're going to hate evil, man. Okay? When you keep reading, it says, ye that love the Lord hate evil. He preserveth the souls of his saints. He delivered them out of the hand of the wicked, because the Lord know that we would be in a predicament to whereas he would, grant us, all right, the privilege of coming into this truth, falling back in love with righteousness, okay, hasten the day of a righteous kingdom that the wicked, all right, will be frustrated, man, okay, because the wicked hate the righteous, man. The righteous hate the wicked. You see, and as the Lord has, in these latter days, raised up a ministry of righteousness in this wicked world. All right, the Lord know that we will be hated, and the devil will be plotting and scheming, but the Lord's going to deliver us, man. Okay, and the Lord is going to transition, all right, the authority of the earth from the hand of the wicked to the hand of the righteous, beginning with Yahweh Shai. Okay, let's go here. Okay, because you go to 1 John 2 and 15. It's the book of 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. It said, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So there's no way that we can be in love with this current age, okay, and have the love of the Father in us, man, because the love of the Father is righteousness, man. It's truth, it's understanding, it's peace, it's life. This world is a complete opposite, man. Okay, this world teaches us to be in opposition with our power. All right, our power teaches us to be in opposition with this world. There's no gray areas, man. Okay, you're gonna cleave to one and despise the other, as Yahweh Shai said, man. The world, the love of the Father, okay, creates hate for this world. The love of Yahweh Bashim Shai creates a hatred for this world, man. Into what we hate today, or judgment, man. That's why we tap into prophecy, man, because it's all leading to the build-up of judgment, of righteous judgment, man. Okay? The end game of righteous prophecy is righteous judgment, man. Yahweh Shai coming to wage war in righteousness, man. To execute justice and judgment and justice in the earth. Okay, that's why we tap into those things, man. So let's go. All right, let's go from here. Let's get into Psalms. Let's go back to Proverbs. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 119. Okay, and 104. All right, so you go to Psalms 119 and 104. It says, "Through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way." So because the precepts is teaching us, you had the Lord put the Spirit on men to go and teach us through what precepts. We're being taught Yahweh Bashim Al Shai and precepts, man. Here a little, there a little. The volume of the book. Okay, so through thy precepts I get understanding this truth. These precepts, paint a picture. Okay, so when you go into the scriptures and you put precept on precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, in the spirit, well, you're painting a picture of righteousness. You're painting a picture of truth. Okay, so that's why I read Psalms 119 and 104. Through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. So as we get more understanding based on these precepts, we hate every false way, man. We begin to hate every false way, man. And this society is a false way. Okay, it's based on lies, all right, deception, witchcraft. Okay, disguised as liberty and peace and love. It's a false way, man. Okay, and the truth sheds light on everything, man. All right, so verse 5, Psalms 119 and 105, it says, "The word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path," man. And this word, is giving us instructions on how to move. We can see how to move through what these precepts, which is, like a path, like a lamp unto our feet. Like headlights on the dark road. Okay, to where we're able to maneuver in righteousness in the dark world. You see? So going back to the book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and verse 6. Proverbs 16 and 6, it says, "By mercy and truth iniquity is purged, and by the fear of the Lord men depart from evil." And by the fear of the Lord men depart from evil. You see? So through mercy, all right, and truth, iniquity is being purged, and by the fear of the Lord men depart from evil. Okay? That's why the fear of the Lord, having a reverence for our power. Okay? Because we're in the flesh, and the flesh has lapse, man. Okay? But the fear of the Lord is a constant, okay? It's constantly governing, okay, our actions. The fear of the Lord is a constant governing. It's constantly governing our actions, man. To where every move we make is governed by the fear of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. The reverence to our power. We're not just randomly doing things based on, being in the moment, emotions, impulse. No, the fear of the Lord is always governing, man. And the more we increase in fear, but the more we increase in understanding, okay, the more we increase in understanding, the more we increase in the fear of the Lord. Okay? And this is what the planet Earth lacks, is a fear of a higher power. Okay? That's why life, is meaningless in this society, man. People have no value of life. People are very inconsiderate, very self-centered, no one's thinking about, okay? No one's thinking about anybody else, man. Everybody just in their own little world. All right, there's nothing that's off limits. There's pretty much nothing that people won't do. Okay, it's a culture with no fear. You see, but through these precepts, we learn to fear our power. All right, and you go into, let's get this, because the beginning of true wisdom is what? The fear of the Lord, to come into having a high reverence Of course, we fear in what the Lord can do. Okay, and understanding that look, his judgments is, unlimited, man, to what he can do as far as judgment, man. Okay, so of course we fear what the Lord is capable of doing. All right, but also from the aspect that we have a high reverence of our power, man. We revere our power. The highest level of respect that you can have, we have there for our power, man. And we understand that we're an extension of Him. You know, we understand that we're an extension of Yahweh Bashim Shai as His people. Sirach 25 and on 12 it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of His love. Okay? See, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of His love, man. If the Lord loves, all right, and the Lord has a love for His elect, that's why He puts a spirit of fear upon the elect. That's out of love, because that fear is keeping us in good standards with our power. A healthy fear of the Lord is keeping us in good standards with our power, so we don't be out of pocket, man. We're not going to be perfect, you see, but the fear of the Lord keeps us in tight, okay, to where we're not just out of bounds, man. We're not out of pocket and in bad standings with our power. No, the fear of the Lord is keeping us in good standings, and the Lord put His fear on those, all right, that He loves, man, to keep us in tight, man. Okay, it says, "In faith is the beginning of cleaving unto Him." Okay, so if fear is the beginning of the love, okay, who does He give, that fear to? So the fearing our power, okay, is the beginning of love, and then faith is the beginning of cleaving unto Him, man. Because the more we believe, faith and fear is a powerful combination in this truth, man. Okay, because this fear is governing our conduct. Faith is constantly inspiring us, man. To get closer to our power. All right, to get more into understanding, to haste the day of a righteous kingdom, man. Because the more we believe, the more we have faith in what's coming. And if we have faith in what's coming, right now don't matter, right? Cleaving to our powers above anything in these moments, man. Okay, as we believe more. So let's go to Sirach 1 and 14. It says, "To fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." That's the foundation of wisdom. Okay, because people have wisdom but don't have the fear of the Lord. You have these guys, look at Sakari. These men had particular wisdom, but they had no fear of the Lord. Okay, so the true beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. It's the foundation of reverence, because we can be, you can be a man that has understanding, that has a high knowledge base. Okay, but if it's not rooted in the fear of the Lord, then it's nothing, man. You have no foundation. The foundation of the truth is having a reverence for our power. Because the fear of the Lord, all right, is like it's a self-regulator. Through the fear of the Lord, you tell yourself, okay, I'm doing too much, or I'm not doing enough in what I need to be doing. I'm doing too much in what I don't need. Okay, that fear is like a regulator, man. All right, that keeps us, that keeps us solid, man. And then we got to have that fear as a foundation, man, because that fear regulates everything else. Because I say these men had all this knowledge base and words and history they can go into, and cutting, having these debates and cutting people with the scriptures, but they had no fear of the Lord. So when it came to their behavior, their conduct, okay, it lacked wisdom. Okay, because the true wisdom is moving in fear. Okay, they didn't mind selling you everything, and the script club Passovers, and all the other madness they was into. Okay, but they had that wisdom at the time, but they didn't have no fear. And I'm just using them because that's a major example, man, of having wisdom without the fear of the Lord, man. Okay, the true wisdom is the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, man. Okay. And it says, and it was created with the faithful in the womb. Okay, so the faithful was created with that fear, all right, in the womb. The Lord gave He gave the hopeful elect a healthy dose of fear, which is going to lead, all right, to the Lord having mercy on us at the end of this thing, man. Abaratazah. So that's the point, just wanted to get into that, Lord will, you brothers. All right, and you sister was edified once again. We want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessing, salutation to the hopeful Shalom.